and tomorrow. Just FYI, because this is mobile, I have to let you know, this is being streamed live, and if you look in the back, that tiny little thing streaming it is the Samsung Galaxy 3, and we're streaming with iPads and Galaxies all five conferences. We used to use a camera for this, but those were really the good old days. You don't really need that anymore. Although the problem is that the thing is so small, someone can they wouldn't steal the camera, but you can really grab a phone pretty easily. We had an interesting session this afternoon. Who here was in the sessions this morning, earlier today? Both sessions? Good. Okay. We'll get a treat for you today. We're going to go through some research, which is really good stuff, and I'll tell you that this is from Magna Global. They are one of the top research firms, and among other things, I'm the director of the Center for Media Research at MediaPost, so we track research very closely, and they are one of the most highly respected brands in terms of the data that we get in terms of the marketing space. So their stuff is really solid. Then we're going to get a case study from American Express, which is also going to be very innovative and the things that you haven't seen yet. And then we're going to have a panel, which is going to be really strong with a lot of people with a lot of different viewpoints in terms of mobile shopping and how do you get the right ad to the right screen at the right time. And that's a real challenge these days in terms of when people are on the go. What kind of a message are you going to reach to this small screen and to tablets? So to get started, the state of mobile in 2012, ad impression generator or magic wand? This is where the real issue is. Where does mobile fit in the marketer's toolkit? Here to shed some light on where mobile is headed is Brian Monahan, managing partner of Magna Global's intelligence practice. Brian's team works to predict the future of media value, and Magna Intelligence Practice forecasts media ratings and attention levels, conducts ad experience experiments, and predicts buy-side demand. Please join me in welcoming Brian Monahan.
So they gave me, MediaPost gave me 15 minutes to do a sort of state of the online, the mobile advertising space, and I thought I couldn't resist, so I thought I would get on a soapbox and share some stats about the state of the marketplace, but at the same time share a point of view about what we see happening in the mobile advertising space. We sit inside Interpublic. Magna does the upfront buying for IPG as well as our trends and forecasting. So we come at this fundamentally from the buy side and sort of sitting on behalf of buyers. We can throw it to the PC that's up here. So what I wanted to talk about is this point of view that's really what we're calling mobile media's identity crisis. Right? Is mobile media, is it a magic wand that unlocks incredible marketing experiences? Or is it a device that just serves up more page views and more ad inventory? Which is it? And I think solving that, or at least recognizing that schizophrenia, is key to unlocking a lot of revenue in the space. So in my time, I hope to demonstrate 3 points. One is mobile devices are everywhere. It's pervasive. These are incredibly powerful machines that, by and large, consumers have done the favor to us as marketers paying for it. And number 2, mobile ad spend is relatively low to time spent and other metrics that we think sort of would gauge what you would expect for this medium to be doing in the marketplace. And then lastly is to share this point of view that to capitalize, mobile publishers need to develop native ad units. And I suspect that anyone here today, this is not a groundbreaking point of view, but what I hope to do is create a little bit of a sense of urgency for those of us in the industry to really innovate around what native mobile ad experiences are that take advantage of all the features in the device. Right, okay, data. Wow, interesting. 2014 disappeared. You can look at different sources out there. This is the International Telecom Union. 6.5 billion handsets, or billion subscribers, mobile subscribers on a 7 billion person planet. Pretty amazing stats in terms of the breadth of the device. And the steady creep towards upgrading the device to these incredibly powerful smartphone devices. In the developed world, you're looking at about 40% penetration as is, but the ship rate continues to grow year over year. So the point is these devices are not only pervasive, they're becoming much more powerful, which again I don't think is news to anyone in this room. I think what most of us in the room probably care about is mobile ad spend or marketing dollars that take place on those devices. At Magna, we estimate in 2012 that mobile ad spending is a $6.3 billion marketplace. It's growing at a clip in 2012 of about 49% year over year, so incredible growth, but we think the growth is going to tail off just as it gets to be a bigger market, but still an exciting place to be, of where to be. Mobile ad spending is growing quickly, but when you look at it in terms of time spent, which is not really a metric that we love at Magna. Time spent does not equal ad dollars. It has a lot to do with how you can harvest that attention for any one advertiser. But nonetheless, the chart on the top will show you that mobile in particular is really under-indexing for its share of ad spent, ad dollars versus time spent. Across the bottom, I apologize, it's cutting off the axes, but to the left is mobile ad spend share of total ad spend, and to the right it's mobile ad spend share of digital ad spend. So globally, mobile ad spending is about 1.5% of total ad spend, right? So still a relatively small rounding error. And so the question is, what's it going to take for this to get bigger? And what's interesting is, if you start to dive into some of our diagnostics of how effective mobile advertising is, and if you look at some data on the top there, this is some work that our mobile agency at IPG Media Brands, Ansible, did, is to look at some of the click-through rates or engagement rates in the blue bars of different types of mobile ad units relative to the standard browser in red, and you actually see on a response level, mobile ads do pretty well. We've done some other eye-tracking work at the Media Lab, and we've also seen that attention levels, even though people like to knock the little teeny ad units, attention levels are actually pretty high on this device. So the units seem to be pretty effective. On a CPM basis, however, they don't seem to be garnering that premium in what the market's willing to bear. We think at Magna that the effective CPM for display media in the US is a little under $5, $4.70, right? So that includes everything. We found some stats from the Opera Exchange, which broke out the eCPM for different types of platforms, and it starts at $2.85 and goes down from there. The point is, I think anyone who's on the buy side or sell side knows this, is that the mobile ad units are relatively inexpensive compared to regular display ads. So why? Well, if you start to look at, this is some compete data about what do consumers want from a mobile ad product, right? And the last thing they want at the very bottom, the least popular thing, is they want display ads. When you ask about their interest in smartphone advertisements, what they tell you what they want is they want functionality, they want coupons, they want a barcode scanner, they want theater promotions, they want location-aware functionality. They want experiences in the ads that are native to what the device does, to what they do with this device, right? Because if you look at different types of uses of the device for shoppers, they'll tell you they're doing things like taking photos of a product, or they're searching for coupons, or they're scanning QR codes. They're doing more than just looking at an ad that is presented to them embedded in content. And you can look at that, and I'm sure folks in this room are well aware of it. You say, well, that makes sense, because that sounds like apps. If people are using the phone for apps more so than just loading mobile web pages. And we think that's true at Magna, so we see a very large installed base of app users, 183 million global app users who have downloaded 30 billion apps in 2012, we estimate. So lots of apps being used. What I think is really interesting is when you compare app usage relative to web browsing. And what we've seen over the last few years is that that's across the bottom. The red bar which is app usage, is outpacing web usage. So consumers, in essence, are voting with how they want to use this little magical device to do some of these magic wandy-like things. which I would argue we're just starting to see what this device can do. Like, wait till payments really start to kick in, and we start to see NFC phones being much more broadly enabled in the product that's being shipped, and a lot more payment opportunities with this device. I'd also argue that location aware and coupon delivery and shopping and offers, that we've also just scratched the surface of what that experience can be, that native experience to this device. We've just started to see how those things get packaged into an ad product. Well, that's great if you're, in this case, Foursquare, and you've developed a whole user experience that's around checking in, and it creates a great environment to deliver a location-aware coupon. But what happens if you're just a regular old content publisher? Forgive me for saying, I don't mean it in a pejorative way. If you're just a publisher and you're starting to realize that 20–30% of your page views are now being served up on this device. And so this is some data from Portio that looks across different regions about the percent of page views on mobile devices. Blue is 2011, red is 2012, and you can see it increasing. Globally, they have it at 8.5%. If you talk to individual publishers, you'll hear that that percent of their total inventory being delivered on these little screens is growing much quicker than this data would suggest. So if you're a publisher, what's the answer? Have we traded analog dollars for digital dimes for mobile pennies? What are we going to do? Are you not going to publish to people who want to consume your product on this device? Well, then you'll risk losing your whole audience. So we have to find a way to monetize. Publishers have to find a way to monetize the ads that appear on these little screens, because that's where the consumers are going. Okay, what do brands want? What do brands want? And I think you'll see in the Amex case study in a second more examples of really great creative work like this. But if you look at what won at Cannes this year, brands as well as consumers seem to be voting with their checkbooks to do these really magic wandy-like experiences, like Coke sort of being able to send somebody a Coke, give somebody a Coke around the world, gratis. Or Toyota having the backseat driver app where the kid in the back seat can actually use the Google Maps API and drive along, with their parents as they're taking them out on errands. Like, incredibly cool experiences that use a lot of the native functionality in the device. Well, that's wonderful, and you would expect that to start to come from sophisticated marketing companies like Coca-Cola, like Toyota. And you would expect brands to continue to invest in original content, particularly when it was core to the brand experience. But is that really what's going to be the scaled experience with the brand on these screens? Apps that are created by the brands themselves? We're not so sure. Not to pick on Dow Chemical, an amazing company, but if you look at the revenues for Dow Chemical and you look across their lines of business, they don't have revenue from app development or entertainment. Creating entertainment, creating content that commands attention and gets a repeat audience is hard. It's difficult to do. It leads us to believe that there's still going to be a place in the industry for content creators who know how to create content for this screen, and they're going to have to find a way to work with brands. The question for all of us, I would say, slap microphone for dramatic ending, is who's going to pay for the content, right? So consumers have, by and large, paid for the hardware. Who's going to pay for the content? Who's going to pay for, what is the ad model that is going to subsidize all the great experiences you can have on this device? We believe those ad experiences are going to have to be app-like, but really take advantage of the native functionality in this device. It is not a PC screen, it's something different. And I think there's a ton of innovation yet to be had to take what we're currently seeing in the sort of isolated app, branded app world, push it out into ads so it can be more broadly distributed, and we can start to see publishers getting a higher return on all of that inventory that the consumers are generating off their website. So, thank you very much. I'm happy to take a few questions if you got time.
Yeah. Can you talk, Ryan, a little bit about, based on your research and your market knowledge, obviously, How does the market go beyond that 1.5% of ad spending being mobile? Well, I've had conversations with CMOs and CEOs saying, you know, you're spending 1% of your budget on mobile, and they go blindly go passionate and say, wow, you think we should double it? And realistically, you can't get doubling a budget by a CFO these days, even if you're going from 1 to 2. So how do you get from 1% to 10% to 15 to 20? I mean, it took forever for the internet to go there.
Well, so I'll share an observation. So we have this, at IPG, we have this sparkly new media lab that we've built down on 6th and 33rd, and it's a great place where we bring CMOs through and spend time with them. And we have a whole mobile station, as you might imagine. And as we sit there with brands and we talk about what you can do with mobile device, they get excited about things that are, you know, tracking tools or CRM-like experiences, things in other words that are marketing programs that aren't necessarily going to really move the needle of the media expenditure. So your point about how doubling in sort of the current world is difficult, I think sort of we have to find a way to show how you take some of those experiences that we see that live in standalone apps and push them out into ad units with more scale. And then you'll start to see the needle start to move. Because clearly the audience is there, clearly you can get reach, and clearly there's evidence so people will learn that the ad units, even though they're small, they work.
Other questions, just raise your hand and we'll bring the mic to you. One more question. Do you see, or what do you see in the future from your research standpoint as the future of the dreaded mobile banner ad?
What do we, you know, from a research point of view, I don't know that we have a point of view about the mobile banner. I mean, what we have seen, particularly with, I think that's about banner, but with video ads, we've seen that attention levels and sort of biometric feedback are very similar for video on a mobile screen versus a 42-inch big screen versus a PC. And so, you know, our sense is that attention, if focused, is still attention. You know, there's just not a lot that you can write or say in a small unit, but I think there'll have to be some trigger that there's more functionality underneath it, but the payoff is going to have to be greater than what we currently pay off banner ads with.
Great. Other questions? Great. Thank you very much, Brian Monahan. If anyone has private questions for Brian, we'll ask Brian to be at the end, and it would be over in about 30 minutes to take questions at the end, because a lot of people, our experience so far at the show today has been they want to ask things privately because just various reasons. They just don't want to do it publicly. I want to introduce you the American Express case study here. American Express moved beyond the banner to create meaningful and personally rewarding consumer experiences. The company created a customized mobile ad experience, presenting consumers a unique app within an app experience, which you're about to hear from Terryn, Giampietro, and Elizabeth Lepre. Terryn is Senior Manager of U.S. Media and Sponsorships at American Express, working on the consumer brand business. She manages all media channels with the focus on advanced TV and mobile, working to create immersive and engaging customer experiences that also drive commerce. Elizabeth, or Liz, is Senior Manager, U.S. Advertising at Amex, where she works in the Global Advertising and Brand Management Department to talk to consumers through innovative partnerships, channels, and products. Please join me in welcoming Terryn and Liz.
Hi, how's it going? Thank you for that. That was a really great segue into what we have to talk about. So that couldn't have asked for a better setup. We'd like to start with a little bit of background about what we're going to talk to you about here. First, what are we talking about? Why are we talking about it? Who are we talking to? And why did we decide to work with CMOB to talk about it? So we're talking about Amex Sync, which is a capability that allows card members to sync their cards with their social networks for couponless statement credits that they get when they take advantage of certain offers. It allows for anonymous savings There are no coupons, it's all handled on the back end. It allows us to serve offers in a socially shareable way, and it allows us to push relevant offers in places that consumers already are, rather than places that they have to seek offers out in. Sync is an excellent proof point to our current brand campaign, which is about bringing buyers and sellers together to create more commerce, facilitating connections, and increasing value. We're revealing a new aspect of membership, one that's in line with the way our car members are living today, on the go, on their mobile devices, etc.
So who is it that we're exactly trying to reach? At a macro level, we want to get prospects. They're the people that we don't have within our portfolio today, and people who believe that American Express is not relevant to them. So we need to make sure we're disrupting perceptions and showing them a side to American Express that they've never seen before. And the way in which we are doing that is by using our card members to actually be our advocates. At the core of our target, it is a audience that we call modern members, and they are people who are digitally savvy, socially engaged, and influencers amongst their peers. They're people who are willing to take advantage of these sync offers and actually sync their Amex card to the different platforms to enable couponless redemptions. These people are advocates, and they're people that we need to ignite to spread the word. And this is sort of where mobile comes into play. So in order to reach such a dynamic audience, one who's digitally sophisticated and savvy, we really want to make sure we're engaging with them where they are. And so we've, I don't think it's no surprise that we're obviously here for mobile, that the stats are just staggering. Over 5 million people showed up the first 2 weeks to get the new iPhone 5. Over half of Facebook's 900 million users are accessing their social network through their mobile device, which is just staggering. It's pretty insane. And I even recently purchased a car, and before going to the actual dealer, I had already basically sat in the car, experienced OnStar, played with the different functionality, and viewed the interior. This is all before even showing up. So it's pretty crazy what you can do on a phone these days. So with that in mind, we wanted to find a partner where we could move beyond just the standard banner ads and move to what Brian referred to as the magic wand ads, and really create an immersive, engaging experience for our users. So we partnered with our media agency, Mindshare, as well as Zemobi and their platform, both from a production and a media standpoint, to create something that's personalized and goes or transcends above and beyond the actual digital banner. So here's some examples of the way in which we utilized rich media to sort of capture people's attention through this integration. It's more engaging and a little bit more eye-catching than the standard banner that goes across the bottom. They're in relevant places within the network, so if you're looking for news, we're sort of serving you up a little piece of our Amex news. And what the output is, which Liz will go through in a minute, is a highly personalized panoramic. It's a snapshot that a customer actually has created themselves in just about 20 to 30 seconds. They are able to actually use the native functionality of the mobile device, in this case, uploading a picture, basically delivering on what Brian had mentioned before in terms of what consumers are looking for and how they want to utilize their mobile devices. Not only that, we were able to partner with Zemobi to sort of take people through the funnel. This ad unit, like I said, above and beyond banner, but it actually incorporates our brand videos, a how-to video, sort of taking people through the funnel from brand all the way down to business, where we are actually proposing that people sync their card or follow us on Twitter.
Okay, so to start customizing, first we ask for your name, which is nodding to the personalization component of sync. You type it in. And then we ask for where you live. which is nodding to the localization component of sync. So this was a great way to tie in what the benefits are of this sync capability within the nav unit. Okay. And then we ask you for what category you're passionate about. So basically with where you spend your money. We are a credit card company after all. And we have offers in retail, both fashion electronics, travel, and dining. So these are all actually relevant categories that you could spend and be saving with CardSync. So let's say you select a restaurant, then we would ask you to select a photo from your camera roll. And this is where we get to the really exciting part of what we were doing here. This was something that had never been done before. Apple had not even had this capability. So this was super exciting for us to be able to do this. So you would select a photo from your camera roll and you would upload it, or if you didn't want to select one, we would populate one for you. You could actually crop it exactly how you wanted it.
We know everyone does this because on Facebook, how many people are used to taking photos of their meal, right?
Yep. And then you would be preparing your panorama. Then, ta-da, what resulted was something that was personal, local, we welcomed you in, which was fitting in with our campaign. We're educating you on what CardSync actually does and delivers. You have your own photos that you were uploading from your camera roll. You could upload multiple. And then we were also giving you 2 different videos to consume our content. So our disease video that Terryn mentioned, and then also the how-to video. And then you could follow us on the left or click off for the call to action on the right, which would be to automatically deliver you to sync your card. That was our experience. We have it to play for you so you can see the whole process. But Terryn's going to have some results for you.
Okay, so how did it do? So this was one of our strongest click-through campaigns to date, higher than benchmarks that we've seen, and then higher, more than double the category average that we heard back from Zumobi, so at 4.74. We also were able to increase our followers on Twitter, gain additional syncs, and actually the video plays were nearly triple what Zumobi has seen in the past amongst unique viewers. This truly was a brand to business scale play for us, where we got the notion of people liking us more because of what we were able to deliver and actually syncing their card to actually experience what it means to be a synced card member and the benefits that you'd receive from that. So we can show the video.
Can you tell me, I've got several questions. When you started, what were your metrics in terms of success? When you started, because you couldn't have known what you were going to get. You might have had like 0 click-through. So what was your internal sell?
So we're sort of testing that area, as I imagine most marketers are. We have done a lot with Apple IAD in the past, so we've sort of set some benchmarks there that we could use to compare, basically buying us on a CPM model and hoping that it pays out. And I think we're doing studies from a brand perspective as well as figuring out how many SIGs it is actually driving.
Okay. Well, any other questions, just raise your hands, I'll bring them back to you. Can you talk about how in American Express you fit this with syncing? I know other parts of Amex have been dealing with getting Foursquare deals and all. How does what you do fit with all of that?
So, you mean within the company, our division?
Yes.
Yeah, so we work in the...
The reason I'm asking is a lot of big companies here have real internal issues, silos, and you've got a group here doing this, and we found, is anyone here from Intel? Okay, so at Intel, for example, you've got one group that's doing something and another group's doing the exact same thing, and neither group knows it, and then a third group comes up with the idea of doing the same thing the first two are doing, and they don't find out either, so you have 3 groups doing it?
We have that.
A little bit. I mean, I think our department is kind of the umbrella that